Viewers and subs, welcome back. In yesterday's video, it was a short clip about the 4CR Complete Auto Care product. So let's get down to business and see how these products work.
Alright guys, so we have this car in the shop here and we're gonna get this painted, but before we start doing anything, the first thing we have to do is strip it. Notice you can see a bunch of cracks in it. The best thing to do is go ahead and get some paint stripper, strip this down to bare metal, prime it, and then go about your paint. So we're gonna be using all that materials we had to get the roof and the hood painted.
Now to get started, the first thing you want to do when stripping a panel is to give it a light sand with some 80 grit sandpaper, kind of loosen it up a bit so the paint stripper can work a lot faster. And once you got it sanded, you can just go ahead and apply your paint stripper. Here I was using a spreader because I couldn't find my brush, but eventually I found it because you want to use a brush to do this and not a bundle spreader. It just won't work properly. Now be careful with this, guys. Work fast, work smart, and wear a mask. You do not want to breathe in this stuff. It's very strong and dangerous. Once you got it, your paint stripper on there, you go ahead and cover it with some plastic. Now moving on, guy, as far as the roof go, it wasn't that bad, so I didn't have to use any paint stripper. So I started with 180 and I refined it up to 320, and now we have it already. I removed all the clear coat because that's what you want to do if you're not stripping it. Remove all the bad clear coat. If you want to remove the paint, that's fine, but usually once you remove the clear coat, you're okay. This tape is some perforated tape that is really good at pulling back that trim on the glass so you don't get that messed up. And here we have the hood stripped down to bare metal. Now guys, I recommend before you use the 4CR primer on this, use those adhesion wipes or get some edge primer before you prime over bare metal, unless it's a small area the size of your palm. Here I'm using the tape. It feels normal like any other tape.
Alright guys, let's go ahead and mix up our primer. Now once the primer has been sitting in the can for a while, before you use it, it's good to just give it a mix. If you have a shaker, you can put it in there, or you can just get you a paint stick and give it a stir. This is a 2K high solids primer, and guys, the mix ratio is 4:1. So here I have my hardener 0407-3. It's gonna put 1 part of hardener. Here we have the car masked up and cleaned, and it is ready for primer. We use the 4CR tape on this, and let's give it a prime.
Now guys, this is a fairly thick primer. It's nice and thick. I really like it. I'm using the Techno primer gun with a 1.8 tip, and I'm spraying at 18 psi. Now if you notice it's coming out a bit grainy, that's how I want it to be. I need some build up on here, especially down on the hood, because I took off pretty much all the material on there. So I need that build up back on both panels. Now you can reduce this if you want it to come out a lot thinner, or even if you want to just use it as a what do you call it, a hot coat. So if you just want to use it like a sealer, you can, but you just have to reduce it a certain amount of percent. But for me here, it's flowing out really nice, just to how I want it. Alright guys, thumbs up for the primer. I like how it sprays, I like how it's nice and thick. And as you can see, the masking tape works just fine. Remove the masking, there's no overspray. Now here comes the other fun part. So once the primer dries, I use some guide code here just to help me to see all the imperfections so that when I go to paint, I'm painting on a perfect panel with no little dips, no little pinholes, nothing. Just a perfectly smooth surface. Now as for my sandpaper here, I'm using on my DA, it's 320. Now you can start with 400 if you want. They actually recommend using 400, 500 to sand their primer. If you want to start with 320, for me it's quicker, and then I can just refine it all the way up to 600, which is what I usually do. Now, when I'm sanding my primer, I always keep a rag on deck. This kind of cleans it up so I can see exactly what I'm doing as I go. And I section my work, guys. I don't like to be all over the place. I section my work. I use these body lines here as a guide. And then I just work my way until I'm completely finished. And here on my DA, I have a soft pad. So I place a soft pad on the DA with some 600, and this is the final sand. Now what I can tell you, the primer sands normal. Sounds like a primer. As I forgot to mention, they also have these scuff pads. So you have the gray one and you have the red one. You can just use these on the edge to get these edges smooth. The red one is better suited for this primer job because it's rougher. The gray one is better suited for when you're doing a blend. Now moving on, guys, we have the car in the booth, nice and clean, and it's all masked up, ready to go. Now I'm not sure if this company 4CR Total Auto Care have the option to make different color primers. If not, I would highly suggest that you guys look into that because it's a whole lot easier to prime the car the color that you're going to paint it. It's less time consuming and it takes less paint. Alright, finally laying down the first coat of paint, guys. This is the DV1 base coat gun, one of my favorites. We're laying this down at 16 psi. This gun does not require that much pressure, although you might get different reading with different regulator or different compressor. Full fluid, wide open fan, just getting some nice even coats on here. And I'm using the Nason brand paint, as 4CR Total Auto Care sells everything except paint for now. They're trying to bring their market down here into South Florida. They're located in New York and they're trying to bring their market down here, which would be a very good thing because so far I like using their products, from the tape to the scuff pad to the primer, and I'm sure I'm gonna love that clear coat. Alright guys, here's what the car looked like after 3 coats of base. You're looking nice and smooth, and this is what you want to see before you lay down your clear coat. You already know the outcome. It's gonna come out looking wet. So let's go ahead and mix up that fiery clear, we have a 2K high solids clear coat here. This is a scratch resistance clear coat. So they're emphasizing that it's a really good clear coat. The mix ratio is a 2 to 1. Now this is a thick 2 to 1 clear coat, as I'm usually used to the clear coat that mix 4 to 1 that are thick and not a 2 to 1. But there are different clear coats out there, and I'm just happy right now to be doing something different using different products because I'm usually using the same products over and over again. Because this is not a marriage. I don't have to use the same clear coat all the time. This I can explore here. You know what I mean? So far, guys, I'm telling you, I love this clear coat. It lays on effortless. I'm using the Sokola 4600, my buddy Brian's gun, and I'm happy right now. Happy as a little kid laying down this clear coat. I can see the outcome already, and as I said, it's just fun to use something different from the norm. Just stuck using the same thing over and over again. It gets pretty boring, So we're gonna lay this down really wet, guys. Don't try to overdo it on your first coat. You can lay down the money coat on the second coat. And there it is, guys, a beautiful, beautiful finish with this 4CR scratch resistant clear coat. If this isn't a good clear coat, I don't know what is. It's really glossy, guys, and it's thick, so it has a lot of UV protection to it. And when it was dry, it didn't lose its gloss. This is it outside looking even better. So shout out to 4CR. Thank you guys for sending these products out to me. I enjoyed using them. Will continue to enjoy using them. And guys, check out the links in the description. And until next time, class dismissed.